Today we react to Watch Mojo's top 5 scuba diving facts.
Cool.
Hello everyone, my name is Gus.
Hi, I'm Woody.
And today we're going to react to Watch Mojo's top 5 scuba diving facts. Watch Mojo is a website that puts together all these videos with facts and top 10 and top 5 things and stuff like that.
Okay.
And someone recommended that we reacted to this one. I haven't seen this one.
Oh, cool.
So none of us have seen this one. I have no idea what's going to be in it. But this is they apparently looked at all of scuba diving, all of it. And they said, these are the top 5 facts about scuba diving.
Okay.
Top 5. Like, no, it doesn't get any better than this. We got 5. All right?
Let's see what they are.
So let's see. They must be mind blown. So check this out.
In the deep blue sea, a basic understanding of aquatic realities can mean everything.
If it gets out, they won't let me scuba. If I can't scuba, then what's this all been about?
That's
what
right,
am I
Creed.
working toward?
I agree.
Welcome
What's
to
the
Watch
point,
Mojo's
Creed?
Top 5 Facts. In this installment, we're counting down the 5 most interesting facts that we could learn about scuba diving. Some of you may already know that scuba means self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, and a
Nailed
few
it.
of you may even be part of the dive world's equivalent of the Mile High Club, the 20-meter club. But for those of you
What?
unfamiliar with the ways of the scuba,
I'm
well,
not.
it's about to...
That is a fact I didn't know.
I'm not a member.
20-meter club.
20-meter club?
I don't.
And they're
What?
doing the same thing that
I
they do
don't
in the
know.
airplane?
I don't know. I'm just. Is
wonder
that a
if I
fact
could-
of the top 5? Because I didn't know that one.
Is there like an application just that I could apply to get in the club, or how does it work?
All right.
go down. Number 5. Wetsuits keep divers warm thanks to nitrogen gas bubbles. After working on the Manhattan Project, an American physicist named Hugh Bradner invented the wetsuit in 1952, 9 years after Jacques Cousteau and Émile Gagnon introduced the aqualung. And while experienced divers fully understand the specifics of the neoprene design, not everyone realizes how a wetsuit works. Some think it's the enclosed water that actually warms the body, and sure, that helps, but it's the bubbles of nitrogen gas within the neoprene suit that keep the body warm.
Do what now?
What? wait.
All right.
Okay, either I'm, and we could possibly get severely ridiculed here.
All right.
Either
Won't
it's
be
possible.
it's not my first rodeo.
I mean, you and I have. It's safe to say we've taken 100 scuba diving classes, right? Have you ever? Just tell me if you have, because I could be wrong. Everybody out there, have you ever heard that it's the nitrogen bubbles? I guess. I don't even know how they would get trapped by the wetsuit exactly.
This what?
The nitrogen bubbles are inside your body, and your lungs through exhalation gets rid of them. I mean, they're not.
No. So I think what he's
What is he
talking about
talking
is,
about?
you know,
Nitrogen
during the
bubbles.
open water class, we talk about the difference between neoprene used for wetsuits for scuba versus neoprene used for wetsuits for aquatic activities like riding jet skis and stuff like that. And the quality of the neoprene used for scuba diving wetsuits is different than the quality used for, you know,
Well,
those cheap neoprene suits.
The scuba ones, the bubbles are all equal,
Right,
equally placed.
Right.
Whereas
those bubbles,
they're expanding.
I think he's saying that those bubbles are filled with nitrogen, not regular air, which I think is BS. And that the fact that those bubbles are filled with nitrogen is what makes you warm inside a wetsuit.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
ever. I thought he was somehow referring to the nitrogen in your body somehow.
No.
I mean, the basic fact is a wetsuit allows a thin layer of water to come up against your body.
Yep.
And then it doesn't allow a continuous new body of water to come in and out. It kind of holds that same water against your body, of which your body warms that water. And the thicker the wetsuit, the less amount of new water, in essence, that can come in. It's just, thicker neoprene. That's it.
Yeah,
It's
But,
just that simple.
I mean, I think that. Look, I don't know who invented wetsuits. Maybe it was that guy that worked on the Manhattan Project. I don't know. But maybe there is some true about the fact that it's a combination of the two. That the layer of water plus the air or the bubbles in the neoprene, both of them work together to give you warmth. And that would explain also that the thicker wetsuits, the less cold you feel. So there's more bubbles. I mean, maybe, but it's not. This is not a thing. Like, why is this a fact of? Like, you look at all of scuba diving, and that is a fact that you came up with. Like, what?
Yeah, this one. Let's move on. It's not even worthy of.
I will just
discussing
say, just to wrap up, if you get into scuba diving, do not use those aquatic activities, wetsuits, because as soon as you take them out in pressure, the bubbles inside the suit will collapse and it will come out like paper thin. You'll wear it once and then you'll have to throw it on the garbage because the neoprene used on those like $70 wetsuits versus the ones that are $300 or whatever for scuba diving, it's just less quality neoprene. All right.
Nitrogen is a very poor conductor of heat, which prevents the cold seawater from drawing out all of your body heat. As long as the suit fits tightly, the enclosed water won't flush out, thus allowing the gas to keep the body warm. Number 4.
Good
Altitude
explanation.
diving happens at 1,000 feet above sea level.
Yes.
Okay, so any dive below sea level may be enough for some of you, but others need something more. And for some, that something is altitude diving, which takes place at 300 meters or 1,000 feet above sea level. Before executing the dive, you'll need the proper knowledge and the proper legal documents too. And that's because of the potential decompression sickness from the reduced atmospheric pressure. This is a danger at sea level as well, but high altitudes make it even more complicated. In fact, the US Navy recommends a 12-hour wait before making the dive, and a system known as cross corrections helps divers make the necessary calculations. So what's the most ambitious altitude dive? Well, that took place at Chile's Lago Liquincabur in 1982, measured at approximately 19,000 feet above sea level.
Wow.
Number 3.
That's awesome.
Decompression.
The only thing I wanted to say about that, I don't think he said anything really
But you need
wrong
the
there.
proper legal documents. What?
In some places, but more important, what I wanted to point out is that it's not really that big of a deal to deal with it anymore because dive computers today deal with it pretty much automatically.
Right.
And they will recalculate your deco model based on the altitude that you're at. What you do have to be careful as if you do dive in one of these high altitude places, you don't like take the car to go back up to your house that's on the top of the ski lodge or something like that, because now you're really increasing your altitude even more, and that could bed you. So be careful about that.
Sickness is not just for scuba divers. Divers learned very early on that they must control the rate of their ascent or face very serious consequences. Decompression sickness, a horrible, debilitating illness caused by the formation of nitrogen in your tissues and bloodstream. Commonly referred to as DCS or simply the bends, the condition is also known as caisson disease.
Wow.
And the term inadvertently arose through American industrialism.
Sure.
In the 19th century, when feats of engineering had to be performed underwater, workers toiled away in the compressed atmospheres of caissons. Unfortunately, before 1841, nobody knew decompression sickness was a thing. And in 1873, the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge led to a sobering reminder of what people endured in the name of engineering, with a recorded 110 cases of decompression sickness.
Wow.
Number 2, deep
True.
diving gets you turnt.
I'm gonna ask the DJ to play Kokomo and get this place turned up.
So we all know what a drunk person sounds like, right? Well, in scuba diving, somebody experiencing the raptures of the deep will act in the same bizarre manner.
Do you know what I think this calls for, gentlemen? A hit of oxygen.
Yay!
No human is immune to the conscious effects of nitrogen narcosis, which sets in at 100 feet underwater as oxygen itself becomes toxic. At such
right.
depths,
All right. No, that's not what happened. So what he's talking about is like nitrogen narcosis sets in at 100 feet. No, some people feel the effects even earlier than that, shallower than that. Some people feel it even after that. But then he added a comment about how at 100 feet, oxygen becomes toxic or something like that. No, oxygen becomes toxic at 20 feet, at 6 meters, not at 30. So I'm not really sure what he's talking about when he said that oxygen becomes toxic. I mean,
I think he's just flip-flopping words, in my opinion.
but not even air
he was
becomes
saying
toxic at
air,
100.
and he meant air, but he said
But at
oxygen.
100 feet, it doesn't become toxic.
Not toxic. It could. It's basically going to make you. Probably most people will feel the effects of being narked at that depth.
Yeah,
But-
but what you're breathing is not toxic. It's
But
just-
again, this is. This one's a tough one for me. I'm not like overly excited about this video because these were supposed to be. What did you call it? The
top five
things.
scuba diving facts.
Top 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Like he looked at all of scuba diving and he was like, Well, we got to talk about altitude diving. People need to know
Wetsuits holding,
that the
water.
nitrogen inside the wetsuit is what's causing that you feel
Yeah.
warm. Not the water, the bubbles of nitrogen.
This one's really, really basic video. I'm just saying, this is like, if you don't know anything about scuba diving, you're probably learning some stuff right now. But for any of our scuba diving subscribers, they're like, man, guys, I learned this in everything we've talked about. I learned in day one of my scuba class.
Yeah,
Right,
but
this
I
is
think
very
this is more
basic stuff.
for non-divers. But still, it's
Yes.
like,
It is.
I mean, I feel like, okay, nitrogen narcosis is a thing, a fact that you can share as your top 5. It should be one of the things you talk about. But yeah, the way he's talking about it is like, oh, you're going to feel happy and like you want to party. No, that's not a thing.
Scuba divers use a breathing gas called trimix,
Oh,
which
boy.
combines nitrogen, helium, and oxygen.
Trimix?
This is what helped a British diver, the late John Bennett, become the first scuba diver to ever dive 1,000 feet deep in 2001. Granted, at that depth, getting tipsy on some N is not as big of a problem as hypothermia. Number 1.
Listen, I
This is
want
a
to,
disaster.
by the way, soon we're going to do some Trimix diving.
Oh, boy.
And when we do,
Goggles.
please make sure that they have Trimix.
They have to have Trimix.
If they don't have Trimix, Trimix.
It's
Now
one
on,
quick word.
I'm
Trimix.
only going to be calling it Trimix. And only you and you
God.
out there in our dive talk world will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Can I get a 1060 Trimix?
Trimix mix.
The shop will be like, what?
Get
Is that
out of here.
Is that like a cappuccino with an extra shot of espresso?
Oh, my God.
All right, that was funny.
That was ridiculous. All right.
Colors disappear underwater.
All right.
Reality takes on a different form underwater. Because water absorbs different wavelengths of light to different degrees, as you go deeper underwater, colors effectively disappear from the visible spectrum one by one. At roughly 15 feet, cutting yourself would mean bleeding blue blood.
You want bleeding?
It does look
At
blue.
about 25 feet, your tangerine will look more like an oversized blueberry. At around 150 feet, you'll have no idea which M&Ms to eat first and which to eat last, because they'll all look the same.
I only eat the brown ones.
You'll scream in frustration, which will confuse
That's
the
true.
rest of your diving party because sound travels nearly 4.5 times faster underwater, making it difficult to determine the source of a sound. Basically,
Oh,
the world
seahorses.
under the sea is much different than life above.
Under the sea, under the sea.
So, what fact about scuba diving surprises you the most?
None of the ones you talk about.
The fact that Trimix exists is what surprises me the most.
It's a new gas. Yeah, Trimix.
No, I think this one is very, very basic, everybody. Tough one for me to get too
I
excited
think
about.
it would be hard. Like if we were putting together a list of top 5 facts about scuba diving for non-scuba divers, right? It would be hard to put together a list of top 5. I wrote 5 just so we can share with people. Like if I had to tell people these are the first 5 things that I'm talking about. Like if I ever meet somebody who's not a diver, say, tell me 5 things about diving I didn't know. So here are 5 that I wrote. Number 1, we never hold our breath. Most people don't know that. They're like, oh, you guys holding your breath? Like, what? No, we never hold our breath. So that's a fact about scuba diving and non-divers don't know. Number 2, we don't breathe oxygen when we're scuba diving. We're breathing air or apparently trimix, sometimes trimix, or other gases, nitrox, heliox, whatever. So we're not breathing 100% oxygen unless you're doing deco or something like that. But for the most part, it's air. It's regular air. All right. Number 3, we don't feel more pressure as we descend. Like you feel the same pressure by the water at 20 feet or 120 feet or at 220 feet. I never feel the difference. Now, look, there are reasons why this happens. Liquids don't compress under other liquids the way gases compress under liquid as you go deeper. And most of our bodies are made of liquids and bones and muscles and stuff like that. So they don't compress. So most people who are non-divers never understand that you don't feel extreme pressure as you're at 100
You can
feet
feel
or whatever.
some sinus pressure. If you
Right.
don't equalize, you can
Because those are air.
your
right?
air spaces need to be
Correct.
equalized, and then you will feel the
You will
pressure.
feel those
just to make
quickly.
sure our 9 divers are aware of that.
Right. And we do get some comments saying it's like, well, Gus, if you were at 2,000 feet, you would for sure feel okay, fine. Like, yes, if I was miles down underwater where the Titanic is, I would probably feel it. But in regular dives, it doesn't matter whether you're at 10 feet or 110 or 210 or 310. You don't feel the difference in pressure. So that's a fact that most non-divers don't know. Number 4, sea creatures don't care about divers. That is a fact. Like, they don't care. Barracudas, giant squids. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what's down there. They couldn't care less. You're just diving around. They're not out to attack you or to eat you. Great white sharks, killer whales. It doesn't matter. Sea creatures generally couldn't care less. Except those remoras. They like to stick to you. They're kind of...
they're not trying to hurt you. They're
a
just
pest.
A pest.
Yeah. I don't like remoras. And number 5 fact about scuba diving that I would tell somebody that don't know about scuba diving, or that doesn't know about scuba diving, is that anyone can be a diver. Right? Handicap, if you have issues, limbs that are missing, if you're not in the best fitness, you don't have to be an athlete or a Olympic swimmer to be a diver. Diving is for everyone. I think that most people are under the perception that, well, I'm 50. I can't become a diver now. I'm too old. That's not true. Or, I lost my leg at war. I'm a veteran and I can't dive because that's not true. Diving is for everyone, and there's actually instructors out there that are qualified to teach people with physical,
of those.
like Woody, physical, I guess challenges to be able to dive. So those would be 5 facts. I mean, there's a lot more facts to talk about, of course, but I feel like that is a better conversation to have with a non-diver than to talk about altitude diving or some of the other stuff that this guy mentioned.
That's pretty reasonable, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sleepy today or anything. I'm a little bit shocked that what these videos are saying are the most amazing things of what they're talking about.
This is the best we can do.
They're not that amazing.
Yeah.
There are points to talk about.
Guys.
Trimix was cool.
All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.